I feel like I've been cheated. I'm soon done with my bachelor's, which is a combined degree in computer and system sciences and business administration. Officially, I will get 2 degrees, one in each of the 2 subjects. So technically, I will have a computer and systems sciences degree. But I feel like I know nothing about CS. I knew going in that I wouldn't go as deep into either subject since it's a double degree, but so far, the only real CS-related stuff I've done is Intro to Comp Sci, Object-Oriented Analysis and Systems Design, 1 course in Programming, Requirements Engineering, Information Security, ERP Systems, and HCI. No math at all. No algorithms, no data structures. I don't really feel confident or comfortable saying I've studied CS when it feels like I haven't even touched a lot of the stuff that comes up here. Am I doomed? Do I have to complement my degree with even more studies? That's kind of what I feel like I have to do now. Was it an actual computer science degree or like a computer information services degree? If you learned web pages in SQL, it was the latter. If you learned assembly and had to take a bunch of really hard math courses, it is the former. Honestly, though, Comp Sci is just a variation of a math degree, sorta like how astronomy is just a physics degree. I've certainly seen appalling programming skills and met grads that wouldn't even know how to update drivers from actual Comp Sci degrees. Obviously, most don't completely suck at computers, but you'd be surprised how many do. They are normally really good at math, though, and since Comp Sci is all about algorithms, functions, and logic, they can do the degree. If you're doing ERP and systems analysis, you probably aren't doing a real Comp Sci program, but don't feel cheated. The real one won't turn you into a rock star programmer either. It doesn't hurt to know complex algorithm design, but you'll be better off learning on your own and immersing yourself in it, creating stuff you want. Only way to really get good is experience, and figuring stuff out on your own will enhance your understanding. This is off topic, but I just learned 2 new words, former, latter. I always wondered on how you would say that in English. Now I know. Are you native English out of interest? No, English is my second language, but I'm from Germany and English lessons start from the 2nd grade. In German you'd say ersteres and letzteres, which roughly translates to first and last, but always in the context of naming only 2 things. Fair enough. This week, I learnt a new English word from German for the day after tomorrow. I've never ever heard of overmorrow, but I have had a few cases for it through my life. There is also the day after yesterday, which is vorgestern. You also can say vorletzten Tuesday. That's the Tuesday before the last Tuesday. Mind blown. Explain overmorrow, please. I'm loving it. It's the day after tomorrow. The word over in it makes it sounds like the day after tomorrow in repeat, not just the first day after tomorrow. Do you get me? No? It's okay. I understand you. I guess übermorgen, overmorrow has to do something with überspringen, jump over or skip to the next one. The word over in it makes it sounds like the day after tomorrow in repeat, not just the first day after tomorrow. Do you get me? No? It's okay. Over means roughly the same as in English. It refers to the day over tomorrow. The same with vorgestern, for as in before, the day before yesterday. It works the same in Dutch, where we use eergisteren for the day before yesterday. Eer has its relative in English too, as in early. Explain overmorrow, please. I'm loving it. The official name is Degree of Bachelor of Science. Main field of study, Computer and Systems Sciences. Specialization, Business Administration and Information Technology. I opted for the double degree, so I will officially have 1 degree in Computer and Systems Sciences and 1 in Business Administration. I am more interested in front-end development, human-computer interaction, interactive systems, UX, product development, and that kind of stuff, to be honest. But I do want to complement my skills with more technical skills and be able to build real systems. I will most likely not be a hardcore developer, but even if I would go that route, I probably wouldn't want to spend much time on back-end stuff. As much as it sounds like a cop-out, no matter how good your school is at teaching the technical aspect of computer science, you'll become much more technically sound after entering the private sector and doing it full-time. I graduated a little over a year ago, and even though I feel like my school did a good job at preparing me for the coding aspect, I've easily become 5x better than I was a year ago due to my job. Don't worry too much. Do some projects you like to put in your portfolio that show off your understanding of the fundamental aspects of CS, and you'll do great. Thanks for the words of encouragement. Really appreciate it. I know that's the case, and I do have quite a lot of work experience, but not in this field specifically, which is why I went to study in the first place. Agree with ABAD Local Commercial. Do some projects, enrich your GitHub, and talk about what you learned from your favorite projects, what aspects of engineering you prefer. Keep doing this basically for the rest of your career, pending how far you want to go. And that's all it is. Learn and kick ass. Are you located in the U.S.? If you don't mind me asking, which university did you get the degree from? In any case, given your stated goals, I would ask you to not worry. You will gain confidence as you gain experience in the real world. Just be patient. Check out MOOCs if you want to expand your knowledge in specific topics. Not in the U.S. I'm based in Europe. I'm about halfway through the Odin project, thinking of doing Harvard's CS50 as well. We'll most likely do a few other online courses and things like that as well. I mean, it doesn't say computer science on your degree, so in that sense, I don't think it's false advertising. When I hear about a degree like that, I tend to think it's like an IT degree or a software engineering degree of some sort, since it contains a large business section in it. Although the naming conventions of CS degrees internationally can be a bit confusing, computer science degrees are often blankly called BS Computer Science or BS Informatics. And if you are more interested in product development and business value anyway, I don't think it's necessarily the wrong degree or that you have been cheated. Computer science tends to be rather engineering and science focused with an emphasis on academic rigor and theoretical knowledge. It does literally say computer and systems science, though. I'm doing 2 theses, one in computer and systems sciences and one in business administration. So officially, I will have 2 degrees, one in computer and systems sciences and one in business administration, as if I had done each one independently. But I definitely agree with you, it's more of a general IT and business degree than anything else. Computer and systems science is not a computer science degree. As per the description, computer and systems sciences is a cross-disciplinary research area with a firm base in social sciences. Our work evolves around new technology, but technology per se is not the focal point. Instead, we explore how ICT can be used in an efficient and ethical manner to enable societal advancements. It does translate a bit differently to English. I knew that it wasn't going to be as technical going into it, but I still feel like it's a bit misleading, because if I tell someone I have a computer and systems science degree, they might think it's like any other CS degree. Because if I tell someone I have a computer and systems science degree, they might think it's like any other CS degree. Not really. You can't feel cheated if the degree you're getting is not an actual computer science degree. But regardless, what exactly was your intent? Did you want to be a programmer or what? Why didn't you choose a CS degree? Did you do your research between a CS degree and your degree to see what you were getting into? I knew it wasn't going to be all that technical because of the school. I didn't have the math courses to attend an engineering school, so I opted for this program. I'm interested in the intersection between business and technology, but I had hoped for a bit more technical knowledge. I want to be able to build systems and products, but like I said, I don't have the interest nor the skills to be a hardcore developer. That's why I chose this program, because it combines 2 fields I'm interested in and gives me a lot of alternative paths going forward. I admit that I thought that computer and systems sciences was a different way of saying computer science. In my language, there's really no good translation of computer science. It's a bit vague and ambiguous. I'm not sure what it is, you want to be honest. If you don't have the interest nor the skills to be a programmer, I can't comprehend what exactly you mean by build systems. Do you mean put hardware components inside a tower, chassis, and connect them? Do you want to be in charge of creating the infrastructure of a company by setting up the servers, switches, cabling, routers, etc.? That's network engineer IT and not CS. If you want to build systems as in operating systems, circuits, CPU, but not the actual hardware but the software, then it's impossible with what you have described. To make it simple, I want to be able to build B2B and B2C apps and web apps. I want to be able to build something that works, as in an MVP or proof of concept, and then hire developers who are better than me. I want to build startups, but I don't think I'll be the best developer in the room. I just want to be able to somewhat understand what is going on and maybe do UX UI stuff, not back-end stuff. I'm not at all interested in hardware, networks, or most of the back-end stuff. I'm interested in creating good user experience and understanding the business logic behind it, while also being able to implement some features myself. One potential path would be e.g. product owner, UX designer, front-end developer, or something similar in that category. I'm sorry, OP, but with what you said you're interested in, it seems like you chose the wrong degree entirely. If the double degree you completed hasn't provided any of these skills to you, regardless of the name of it, this isn't a CS degree. At best, it's a IT systems business degree. Even lower-level CS programs still provide some coursework or projects in relation to software development. If you want to still pursue that, you're going to need to complete varieties of self-teaching to get you to the point where you can create B2B, B2C applications, or from what you said, hire developers and make tangible contributions to the application and actually understanding what's going on. Not to be condescending, but how old are you? Your goals are vague and suggest you don't have much experience in programming. There is no career in building proof of concepts and then hiring developers better than me. You either have the skill set to develop or you don't. There is no middleman position. I wouldn't say you were cheated by your program, but your conception of the field seems pretty naive. A little clash with you, sweet sodium. And/Waltier are a bit harsh here. I could totally see this background for a PM role, maybe even business analysis. You're not sunk. Of course, those roles are more native to big tech than startups. I'd suggest starting there. If the end goal is the startup space, you could certainly gain more technical skills over time and make the leap for your secondish job. As a bonus, you'll have experience, which is basically required to convince investors. I'd feel cheated too if I thought I was getting a CS degree and it wasn't. Lol. You're not going to be technically competent at anything from just school. It takes practice, and there's no better practice than doing it full-time. Don't worry about it. Learn on the go and worry about being better at generalized problem-solving rather than trying to memorize CS theory. It depends what you did in your degree. We don't know what the CS half entailed, but it certainly is less because the other half consumed half your degree. You call it a double degree, but it's really kind of half a degree. You spent half the time learning CS. Your degree doesn't sound like a computer science degree. It sounds like an information technology degree. It probably would prepare you well for certain types of less technical roles and technical team management, but it doesn't sound like it's designed to make you a programmer. I've certainly seen appalling programming skills and met grads that wouldn't even know how to update drivers from actual comp sci degrees. Yeah, I got my CS degree back in the 80s. At the time, the math was limited to Boolean logic and some other discrete topics, along with the same math all the other engineers took. Most of my core classes were on actual programming, languages, algorithms, etc. These days, CS really does seem to be more of a branch of math than anything else. Yeah, I don't know much about the history of computer science, but from what I gather, it started out as a branch of pure math before computers, got really programming oriented when computers came around and then broadened back out into a field of math again. That's one origin of the field. Another branch started with electrical engineering, building more sophisticated and generalizable logic circuits, eventually adding microcontrollers and programmable logic, then evolving into software engineering as they increased in abstraction. As an example, MIT has a department of electrical engineering and computer science. That actually makes sense. It's always seemed to me like CS doesn't have an actual unified identity as a field, and that might be because it's actually two distinct fields that happen to share a name and department, one a branch of math and the other a branch of engineering. I think that's somewhat true. It's a little messy, of course. MIT's EECS department has made plenty of theoretical CS breakthroughs and does work on the mathier side, so I don't think we can boil it down to the math departments of the field and the engineering departments of the field. But it certainly doesn't help that, especially in the United States, universities typically issue a bachelor's in computer science for both computer scientists and software engineers. My expectation is that over time, those two degrees and academic departments will split, much like physics and mechanical engineering. If you have done zero math and algorithms, I wouldn't call it CS. Definitely not CS, or at least not accredited. I did 3 years of advanced maths at uni as part of my CS degree, never been close to using any of it in my software engineering career. Don't worry, computing is a broad spectrum. You'll be fine. Please want to ask you something. How you did to get confident in the software field after having your degree? I had my bachelor last year, but I'm stuck. You don't really start learning until you start your first job. Truth is, you'll make a lot of mistakes at first, but be guided by the more experienced engineers. But you'll gain experience, skills, and confidence. CS degrees tend to be fairly wide-ranging, but when you start working, you will be more specialized. No one's an expert in everything. I just followed some online tutorials for modern web frameworks during my senior year out of curiosity and made a website. It landed me a web developer job right after graduation. Then I moved to full-stack development after proving I knew Java to my team lead, and before I knew it, I was a confident developer. Still going strong 3 years later. What do you consider as advanced math in the context of a CS degree? I will be a freshman in college next year. I am taking Calculus 3 and linear algebra currently, and am wondering how many more math classes I likely have left. Going through Khan Academy to try and get good at math because I never was, but the hardest part about doing all this is knowing it's worthless, and I'll never use it my career ever again. Hey man, I'm a DevOps engineer with 7 years of corporate tech experience. I still feel like I'm a total noob who doesn't know anything. I find myself Googling or referring to documents on really basic, trivial stuff on a daily basis and often think, man, I should just know this. It never stops. If it's not a computer science degree, I wouldn't expect it to have a full CS curriculum. You've indicated that's the case. I do have a CS degree, studied the subjects you mentioned as part of that curriculum. A full 50% of the core courses were mathematics. And I can confidently say this. A bachelor's degree program mostly teaches you how to learn how to discern what's important. I've worked in industry since graduation, and most of my learning has occurred during this time. The reality is that what you're working on, personal project, research, work, defies to a large extent what you should learn. So go do that. Apply for jobs in industry or research that appeal to you and start learning. Alternatively, you could apply for a job that's more strictly related to your business admin education and work on personal projects on your own time. Regarding mathematics, I've personally found that I don't use most of what I learned on a daily basis, at least not in a direct sense. That said, it has allowed me to communicate with scientists. I provide support for a team of researchers who do use this same math daily. Without this education, I don't know that I'd be able to understand requirements for various science products we output. Additionally, learning mathematics and data structures, as you mentioned, is undoubtedly a part of your problem-solving toolkit. If you want to learn these subjects, look at any curriculum for a CS degree program and find those courses in open enrollment formats. MIT offers a ton, or pursue self-guided learning. Lastly, I'll say this. Regardless of industry, but perhaps especially in this industry, your greatest assets will be 1. Problem-solving skills, 2. Ability and willingness to learn, and 3. Communication skills. The degree, of course, will get you in the door. How successful you can be will be defined by these assets, however. You're doing great. Good luck out there. Yay, the mathematics aren't something I've used a ton either. I had to use a little bit of linear algebra to do some image processing algorithms at one point, but honestly, I probably would have been fine without the background in math. The algorithms I was implementing were so well described that implementing them didn't really require me to be an expert on why they worked in terms of the math. If I ever wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of graphics engines and things of that sort, it'd be a lot more necessary, I suppose. I'm glad I've never had to get in the weeds with all of that. Again, we may not be applying mathematics directly, but it surely has changed our ability to understand certain subjects. But yeah, if we wanted to ensure that the theory or implementation of algorithms like the ones you've described are sound, we would need to be much more active about it. Agreed. It sounds like an information systems degree, which is great if you want to go into IT. If you want to go into development, it'll probably be a little harder to get your foot in the door, and you might have to do a little self-study to catch up in a few areas, but once you start working, your work experience is going to be more important than your specific degree. This is true. My associate's was his CIS, Comp Information Systems, but I switched to CS for my bachelor's, so I know a bit about both degrees. I just want to add that OP could also look at DevOps jobs, developer operations. They focus on software deployment and IT-related issues, but it's a little closer to developer work than most IT jobs. My CS classes were CS1, CS2, CS3, algorithms, discrete math, statistics, and networking. Honestly, that is not enough to get anyone prepared for programming work. You can substitute all that with picking a language, Python or Java, and doing free exercises found online, but fully immersing yourself in the language and the CI/CD process for 1 year, and would be better prepared. At month 8, look for an open source project you could contribute to. GoTeleport.com or Cloud Foundry, for example. People post issues, and you can fork the repo, hack at the problem, and submit a solution to be merged to the main branch. Being a public project, all that activity gets logged and is visible in GitHub. Hiring managers would be impressed by that. The degrees will get your foot into the door. Now you just need to get skills that let you enter. This is by far worth more than just doing courses online and getting certifications for them. This sounds almost exactly like the Business Administration and Information Technology degree that some of my peers studied. This degree is meant for hybrid positions that require some technical understanding and some business understanding. The aim is to be able to communicate and cooperate with both sides. In this position, one doesn't need to fully understand all sorts of algorithms, etc., and also not the details of business administration. You'll need to take it as it is. It's neither a complete comp sci nor a complete business administration degree, but it is a unique skill set that fits you into specific positions. And if that's nothing you feel comfortable about, you can pursue a master in either direction and become who you want to be. Even with a master in one of the two subjects, you'll have the advantage of being knowledgeable in the other field as well from your bachelor's. Most short courses, and I'll consider a combined degree that, doesn't reach you to be an engineer. You're supposed to learn in your free time too. Well, being self-taught is that, and not hard, as long as you have motivation. TLDR, don't expect others to tell you what to do or what to learn. You must do things yourself, always. Yeah, I do stuff on my free time as well, and I have tried to engage in other projects and do internships and stuff, but I still feel like I'm a fraud saying I have a computer and system science degree when I know what most other CS degrees look like. If it makes you feel better, I'm a senior tech lead and I don't have a degree. Nobody that cares about technology cares about a degree. And well, you actually do have it for the companies that are like that. So what's the problem? Well, everyone knows it's an IT degree only. You seem to not understand is an information systems degree, also known as an information of technology degree. Now, if you try to actively claim computer science, then yes, you are a fraud. You may be farther ahead than you think. You were not cheated. No, you did not go the uber geek route, but you learned business administration, and in the end, that may pay better. Here's why. Lots of developers get sucked into their bits and bytes world of coding, debugging integration, and releasing applications. And after several years of being a code mechanic or report biatch, they get a business degree so they can earn more, run their own company, and hire others to do the scut work. People who manage programmers, people who see the business objective clearly and can organize teams to develop products are more valuable than the coders themselves, who are often thought of as replaceable by less expensive offshore teams, or fear AI may one day code faster than they can. But AI may never see missing requirements. AI may never sense team dysfunction, motivation, and harmony, and more. You are uniquely positioned with one foot in technology and one in business. You may want to consider an MBA and 6 Sigma certifications while you cut your teeth at a company with a strong product or reputation who needs your abilities. You may also want to get some training in SQL if did not have any in school. You studied in DSV. It's a good school, but the problem is that you need to study Distanzcursor. Meanwhile, you're studying the program to supplement the lack of CS core. I would recommend you to take Algoritmer och Datastrukturer at Uppsala University as a distance course. Also, you can take Mathematik 1 distance course at SU, which will teach you most of the fundamentals of CS math, such as discrete math, calculus, and linear algebra. Good luck. Reach out if you need a study partner or something. Maths, algorithms, data structures, problem-solving, and computer theories are fundamentals for most software engineers. You complement your skill set through different online courses. I have used Coursera for theories, LeetCode Geeks for data structure algorithms and problem-solving, and taken up few personal projects here and there. Your degree doesn't really matter. It's what you want to do for a job and getting connections to get that job. If you don't do unpaid internships or get lucky enough to get paid internships, then college is nothing more than a scam to put you into massive debt after graduation unless you already have something lined up or know people who can get you in somewhere after you graduate. I didn't have this. This is coming from someone with an engineering degree who graduated around the 2008 housing crisis. I couldn't take unpaid internships because I was paying for my housing school, so I had to get a job. By the time I graduated, I spent 2 years trying to get into my field, only to get laid off 8 months later after having just used the company truck to move my stuff closer to work because I had just signed a lease. Fast forward 10 years later, I am not an engineer. I barely have stable employment. Spend your time now focusing on internships and building connections and actually getting experience in what you want to do. That is the only thing that matters aside from actually graduating. You can easily fill in your gaps in your knowledge for free using this. /u github.com/computer/computer science. What are you trying to do with this degree? Be a software dev. Computer science degrees don't really teach you what you need to know to be a functional software dev. You do that on your own time. Are you from Netherlands? No, but based in Europe. Where do you go? Math, CS, those are huge areas. You can be a top-tier expert in some couple domains of each and not even literate in other areas. e.g., cryptography versus quantitative finance versus quantum computing versus machine learning, neural networks versus 3D graphics programming versus numerical electromagnetic simulations versus network theory versus statistical big data analytics. I would not feel bad if you feel not literate in many areas because there are more specializations within each than anyone has even cursory exposure to. I suppose the most basic kinds of math many ordinary programmers use would be arithmetic, basic algebra, different number bases, discrete math, Boolean logic, elementary statistics, sometimes linear algebra, matrix, vector, etc., basic trigonometry, basic geometry. Beyond that, there's lots of business-specific specializations. CS, well, the basics one might get in a curriculum or test scenario, but when applied to computer programming, you're talking about knowing to some modest degree a couple of simple languages, like one of Kotlin, Scala, Java, Python, C++, Rust, Go, R, Julia, then some other stuff like shell scripting, batch files, PowerShell, Office SW like basic spreadsheets, basic database theory, introductory development. Algorithms are ubiquitous but also overrated in study this because you're not inventing them day to day, just using a handful from a few dozen menu items of what is well known for decades in any given task. In pretty obvious mixes, code's already done in the standard libraries. Okay, sorting, some basic searching, basic numerical geometric stuff, basic graph operations / traversal, computerized math, linear algebra, interpolation, extrapolation, curve fitting, basic statistics approximation, simple optimization, lists, arrays, trees, hash tables, queue stacks, etc. Pick up 6 good books on algorithms, data structures, learn Python, Rust, whatever, basic statistics, basic algebra, basic mathematics, study in your spare time. It's nothing intimidating. People in the field in programming, sysadmin jobs, are probably studying half a dozen topics every year, with half a dozen new books just to make some effort in continuing education, staying current, refreshing knowledge, so you're in the same situation almost as everyone, needing to deep dive in some practical topics to apply that to get into doing what you want to focus on in a given next step. Decide what you want to do. Plan ABC. Study. Prepare to dive deep into those areas with practical day-to-day skills, and that'll give you focus on what you want and where your skills are weak in those aspects. There's always going to be a lot more you don't know than you do, but you can map out the comfort zone where you want to specialize to create your career. openDataStructures.org 12people.csvt.edu eSchaffer book /people.cs.vdu//Schaffer /doc.rustlang.org book title page book title page / jeffy.illinois.edu teaching algorithm /blog teaching thing algorithm /wikipedia.wikipedia.org wiki introduction to org wiki introduction to algorithms. There's a ton of open courseware, ebooks, free video courses, etc. out there for learning. Just look at the topics you don't know and ones you think you may need to soon and go. Unfortunately, your degree means quite a bit, even though it shouldn't. It gives you an advantage for getting jobs and promotions. A typical wording goes like 4 years experience or 2 years experience plus a bachelor's degree. So yeah, you're still in the green. If you want to engineer, teach yourself the basics of building an app and build one as your resume. You'll pick up everything you need to know for a job. If you don't want to engineer, you still have a good start for being a product owner, manager, financial analyst, etc. It's all up to you. But for me, I graduated with CS and hated coding until I got my first job, and I learned more in 3 months than I did in 4 years at UNI. You are already several steps ahead because you know what you don't know, and you have a jack-of-all-trades degree. Algo and DS is a very fundamental topic in CS, but there are tons of resources out there on the internet, and with rigorous study supplementing with problem-solving in LeetCode, etc., you can make up for your deficits in 3 to 4 months max. Besides, the market breadth for CSCang Bay is huge. I'm studying computer engineering and spent 3 years learning C, Java, DS, Algo, OOP, computer architecture, operating systems. The result? Interning as a Power BI analyst with additional data engineering duties. Completely irrelevant to everything I learned in uni so far. Had 3 days to prepare for the interview for this position without any prior knowledge, experience in data analysis and Power BI. There's a lot of data structures, courses, and info online for free. Just go learn some sorting/searching algorithms on YouTube and make sure you understand them. Additionally, learn various structures and how they work, namely things like hash maps, arrays, heaps, stacks, queues, lists, linked lists, dictionaries. Once you have that down, you're good to go. If you know those basic things and can Google well, you can be a software engineer. Isn't your degree mainly meant for project managers or business analysis kind of thing? For software engineer and all, you should have done a proper CS degree. But I am not from America, so I don't know if I understand your... I'm not based in the US either. I guess it's more leaning towards people who want to work as project managers or consultants or something similar. But there are a few people who do become developers. I don't really know what I want, to be honest, but I thought it was going to be a bit more technical going into it. But I also knew it wasn't going to be as technical as an engineering school. Yeah, the way I understand it, these types of degrees are there to fill the gap between the tech people and business people, as they often cannot understand each other's fields. So you have your kind of degrees to be in the middle that understands both sides and can plan, manage better this way. Yeah, and that's probably what I want to buy. So I'm still happy with my degree, but I feel that I should have gotten a bit more out of it, especially on the technical side. As the others have said, for most developing jobs, you learn more on the job and don't need all the more technical and mathematical knowledge from a CS degree, so you should be fine. There are, of course, rarer jobs where you would need it. But then you could always go back to uni if you ever wanted a change.